All right, y'all, you know what time it is, man. We are back with some more conspiracy theories and unexplained mysteries and craziness that they trying to keep from us out here in this world, all right? But before we get to the madness, man, real quick, we got to unplug some more people out of the Matrix. And you do that by hitting the like button, then going to the comment section and putting hashtag unplugged, man. It's crazy to see how many people unplugged in the comment section, or so they say. We'll see, though. All right. And if you new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the family, and let's check out this craziness. Here we go.
There is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity.
I don't think the American people need to worry about aliens.
I've not been convinced that, life exists elsewhere.
The NORAD commander refused to rule out that the three most recent objects were aliens.
It could be aliens, it could be balloons, or it could be alien balloons.
There is no evidence of alien life on Earth other than Ted Cruz.
This is where we're at, a very mainstream discussion of extraterrestrial life because of the objects that are just technically unidentified who have been shot down by the U.S. military. Neil deGrasse Tyson is my special guest. Let's start with finishing up some business from before last block. It is actually you as a human.
Yes.
I cannot reach past.
You just use that as an excuse to squeeze my bicep.
For anyone who thought that the hologram joke was serious. But we do have the actual White House of the United States engaging with this question. When you hear people say, because they're shooting things out of the sky, could they possibly be alien life, you say?
I would say if it remains unidentified, there's a chance it could be. However, just think it through. If aliens crossed the galaxy in whatever is their spaceship and arrived at Earth just to throw some balloons across North America, I'm thinking, really? Really? And even if the aliens did do that, are those the aliens you want to meet? They cannot be interesting aliens if the best they've got are some floaties.
I don't know why it irks me, but when they go to laughing like that, bro, I feel like you're just trying to insult my intelligence. Like you're just trying to insult me because I feel as though that there's something out there. And y'all just want to laugh and make a mockery out of it because some of us believe. But it's all good, though. We will have that last laugh, y'all. Don't worry. We will.
Cylindrical and octagonal floaties that any F-22 fighter jet can just knock out of the sky.
All right, so we're going to do this. We're going to do the alien thing on the news, okay?
I love aliens.
Okay.
Nobody doesn't love the aliens.
That answer is very persuasive, and there is no public evidence here leading towards extraterrestrial life.
Correct.
But the counterpoint to that answer would be that a very sophisticated foreign entity, not of this world or this neighborhood, might be doing things that we don't fully understand, or might send out their little thing to test, and it's not the full spacecraft. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's the question.
Okay, so all I'm saying is, if you an alien that can cross the galaxy, we're worms to them. Okay, I mean, just think to yourself what this is. Oh, we're going to put this in there. We think it's going to work. And we hope they don't shoot it down with their jets. I just give aliens more credit.
You're saying because when you
know another one, people say, "Oh, the aliens is a crash landing site over here." Really? Once again, the aliens crossed the galaxy and crashed.
So you're making a point that is scientific in nature, which is you're reminding everyone that if they got here beyond what we can see, then they probably traveled light years. They would be some different level.
A whole other level than sticking floaties in our atmosphere. That's all.
Yeah.
Plus, we have crowdsourced any possible alien invasion on this Earth because there's 6 billion smartphones in the world, and everybody can take a high-resolution still frame or video camera. We have 1 million people at any moment who are airborne, who can look out their windows.
So that then goes to something we've talked about.
So I'm just saying, I need
that.
better evidence than just we don't know what it is, therefore it's alien.
Well, this goes to something that you're so good at, which is you're talking about the empirical and epistemological nature of this era, that unlike, say, 1,000 years ago where you couldn't get from continent to continent and you didn't have real-time information, you're saying there's more evidence than ever that currently does not support intelligent life out there.
You can live stream anything your camera sees, Because in the old days, oh, what happened to the camera? Well, the alien zapped it, so it didn't work. You can live, thanks to ACLU and police conduct, we can live stream whatever's in front of us, all right? And so in doing so, if an alien walked towards you, that would be viral. Look, cat videos go viral. If I have a high-resolution image of an alien walking out of a spaceship,
let's go.
You'd be or the janitor at Area 51.
Yeah.
Get a shot. Yeah, he'd lose his job the next day, but it'd be the wealthiest, most famous janitor there ever was.
So are you more convinced now than before that there's not current alien life out there?
That's a perfect way to say it. I would say
hesitation lets me know everything I need to know right there. Your hesitation, you're stuttering when you speak. It lets me know, man. It's cool if you want to be programmed and be a part of that propaganda of saying or trying to persuade people because they want to control us or they want to prevent mass hysteria. It's okay if you want to be on that side. Just say that. Just say that. I'd feel a lot better if you just said that.
Famous janitor there ever was.
So are you more convinced now than before that there's not current alien life out there?
That's a perfect way to say it. I would say our capacity to detect alien life with the crowdsourcing of eyes on Earth tells me that it's less convincing than ever before. Correct. And just because you see something in the sky and you don't know what it is, it does not mean that you know what it is. Yeah. Think about it. People do this. Wow, lights in the sky. I don't know what it is. It must therefore be aliens visiting from another planet. You just said you don't know what it is. That's the end of the conversation. By the way, go out.
That is not what we're saying. We're asking the questions. Why are y'all why is the government being so secretive? Why are they hiding things? Why is everybody so hush-hush? Why are these documents now being declassified, given the way that there are things that they've discovered? Answer those. Oh man, I wish I was there to ask some of those questions.
Aliens visiting from another planet. You just said you don't know what it is. That's the end of the conversation. By the way, go out, keep checking, grab them. I don't want to stop you. Go.
No, I know you're not stopping anyway.
Get the aliens.
In conclusion,
bring them into the town hall.
In conclusion, no to predictions, no to aliens, yes to fusion someday.
Yes.
Thank you.
Indeed.
I love it when you're here. I love it.
Of course, we had to have him on the show. We want to welcome in Congressman Tim Burchett to Morning in America. He's on the House Oversight Committee overseeing these UFO hearings. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Marky.
My first question to you right off the top, how close are we to seeing visual evidence, photos, videos? You know, Americans have heard the claims, the whistleblowers' allegations of government UFO programs. We've heard from lawmakers like yourself, Senator Marco Rubio, but people are ready for visual proof. Where is it?
Yeah. Well, it's out there. If you'll go on YouTube and watch Tic Tac video, it's just Google it, Tic Tac video. They've had a special on 60 Minutes. It's been covered in some of the major news outlets.
Did he just say Tic Tac video? I'm trying to be zen today. Bro. They really trying us out here.
Mainly the printed medium, not so much the visual medium like yourselves. And it basically shows a craft that they are chasing that are Navy pilots. These are the best in the world. And it's audio and visual and video. And you hear them saying, you know, these guys, they're just laughing because they can't keep up with them. And it looks like a little Tic Tac candy.
Okay, so it's Tic Tac, not TikTok. Just to confirm.
No, ma'am. Yeah, okay. Everybody always says, hey, these young people say, hey, boomer, it's not. And I say, no, it's Tic Tac, like the candy. And my daughter has corrected me on that.
Yeah, hey, I'm not on TikTok, so I just wanted to make sure myself. Tell us more about your claims, sir, that the government has known about UFOs since the 1800s, that they can fly underwater. What are you basing those allegations off of?
Well, I'm basing them off of those pilots' videos that you've seen, and there's multiple occasions of that. And I've talked to multiple pilots, and these are the best pilots in the world. And you have to realize, even though they have so-called whistleblower protection from the military intelligence, and again, military intelligence is a whole lot like congressional ethics. It just doesn't exist. But if you talk to some of the best pilots in the world, and they tell you that they've seen these objects, and then when they do report it, they get interrogated for like up to 8 hours and they get a blemish on their record. So I've talked to pilots who've literally said, we've destroyed any evidence of these videos because we don't want to have to go through all that. We've seen it. We all talk about it. It's pretty common knowledge among some of the pilots in certain areas. We've had actually 13 near-miss encounters. And to think that, we've got a $50 million aircraft and some of the best pilots in the world who are risking their lives, why would they lie about it,
Right.
honestly?
Exactly. How about somebody tell that to old Neil deGrasse over there that we was just watching? Tell that to him. So he seems to want to laugh about this type of stuff. But when you got highly decorated Navy pilots out here saying that they've seen it, they've been interrogated for 8+ hours because of what they seen, and things have been destroyed. I don't want to hear that other stuff, man.
Do is catch hell from their superiors, and this is ridiculous. And all I want is, I don't want to send the Pentagon another red cent, because that's what they're after. They see the public opinion, people like legitimate media like yourself are covering it. They're gonna smell dollars. And and honestly, the Pentagon loses over $1 billion a year in their audits, and we don't have the guts to do anything about it. We don't need to study it anymore. Just release the files. Just release the
exactly.
files.
I think a lot of Americans would agree with you on that.
Facts.
Even the Americans who think that David Grush and the likes of him are credible, people are ready to see it. They want to see those files. Also, Congressman, Americans are already starting to question what the U.S. actually knows about alien life. And in a new poll from Redfield and Wilton Strategies, they found that 57% of respondents believe the government has more information than publicly shared. But is that necessarily a bad thing,
Neil,
given how sensitive and potentially dangerous this research seems to be?
Why is it dangerous, ma'am? They won't even release the Kennedy files on President Kennedy's assassination. And people have been, that's over 50 years. Anybody involved in that is dead. Ma'am, it is about power. It is about control. Woo! It is about the almighty dollar that they are trying to control. And that's all this is about. That's all this is about. Yep. Just release it. I'm not afraid of it. You go out at night and look at the stars, and the light from those stars literally left there before the time of Christ. That is the vastness of God's great universe, ma'am.
And
You honestly, ma'am, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Congressman.
Control, power, almighty dollar. We've been saying that.
One last question for you, just a few seconds left. Should Americans be worried or no?
No, they should not. If they have this kind of technology, they could have done this in a long time ago, ma'am.
All right. Congressman Tim Burchett, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
When it comes to space, we often think that a black hole is the scariest thing out there, which, to be fair, they are super terrifying. But I would venture to say that the most terrifying thing about space is how little we actually understand about it. Welcome back, friends. Thanks for tuning in to another video. My name is Kennedy, and today we are going to be launching into space and counting down the top 10 space discoveries scarier than a black hole. Let's get started. First up in our number 10 spot are zombie stars. Back in 2014, NASA announced it had discovered a star system that had been the victim of a fairly weak supernova explosion they referred to as SN2012Z. Now, boring scientific name aside, normally when a star supernovas, that's kind of it. But in the case of the zombie stars, scientists found that a part of the system's dwarf star may have somehow survived, kind of like the undead. And while they haven't officially confirmed anything just yet, that only makes it all the more suspicious. However, that's not even the wildest part. Apparently, another reason they're called zombie stars is that they scream as they eat other stars. As NASA explained, several seemingly dead stars are emitting high-energy X-rays that could well be their howls or screams, which is just about the weirdest and scariest thing I have ever learned about. Moving on to number 9, the faces.
I've heard they created black holes when they supernova do things like that. But never heard them scream though. I can imagine that could be something eerie to hear in space.
And scariest thing I have ever learned about. Moving on to number 9, the faces of Mars. There are many things I could guess you might find in space, space junk, satellites, maybe even an alien if you're lucky. But the last thing I would probably guess would be a human face on the surface of the red planet. Well, back in 1976, while circling Mars in search of landing sites for its sister ship, the Viking 1 snapped a few photos that were intended for NASA engineers to study. Now, the strange thing about this photo is obvious. It appears as though there is a human face-shaped object on the surface of another planet, which, I mean, just brings up so many questions. Now, as far as NASA has officially announced, it's nothing too exciting, just merely a huge rock formation which resembles a human head formed by shadows, giving the illusion of eyes, nose, and mouth. However, this hasn't deterred conspiracy theorists from getting their 2 cents in, and some believe that it could all be a cover-up for some kind of alien life on Mars. More specifically, the theory states that the face is the remnant of an alien civilization, while also suggesting that other rocky formations in the area could be a crumbling extraterrestrial city, almost like some kind of alien Atlantis, which not only would make a very cool sci-fi movie, but would be a mind-blowing cover-up if it turned out to be true. Coming in at number 8, space snakes. It's one thing when there's an alleged alien sighting from your neighbor down the street, but it really feels a lot more intense when the creature in question was actually spotted by an astronaut while in space. The astronaut in question is Dr. Story Musgraves, who is not only a decorated former astronaut, but also a physician and consultant. And according to him, he witnessed a strange creature on 2 separate occasions while in space. Quote, "On 2 of my missions, and I still don't have an answer, I have seen a snake out there, 6, 7, 8 feet long. It is rubbery because it has internal waves in it, and it follows you for a rather long period of time. The more you fly..."
I know y'all think this sounds extremely crazy, and I get it, it does. But we've heard this account before. This ain't the first time I've heard about this, a whole snake theory being in space. So, yeah, I know it sounds a bit outlandish, but no, we've been hearing it quite a few times.
Has internal waves in it, and it follows you for a rather long period of time. The more you fly in space, the more you see an incredible amount of things out there. And that sort of brings to you really a certainty that other living creatures are out there. Now, of course, many were skeptical of his space snake sighting, and theories like it being a hose or a piece of space debris have been used to discredit him. But Musgraves has never once wavered and insists on what he saw. Quote, "Other living creatures are out there, and other civilizations that have been around for 1 million years that are doing unimaginable kinds of things." Coming in at number 7, wow signal. Back in 1977, astronomer Jerry Eman was researching at the Ohio State University when an incredible and unexplainable radio signal was detected using the school's Big Ear telescope. In those days, information was run through what was called an IBM 1130 mainframe computer before being printed on paper and then studied by hand. Upon reviewing the findings, Jerry came across something he had never seen before. There, in a vertical column, was the sequence 6EQUJ5. Jerry was flabbergasted and immediately circled the sequence and wrote "wow" right beside it, hence the name. The signal they picked up had come from nearly 220 million light years away, and there was no explanation as to how or why a radio signal could be detected from that distance. It immediately became a sensation in both the science community and the rest of the world, and was used to support the search for alien life in the universe. Jerry himself says he's convinced that it certainly has the potential to be the first signal from extraterrestrial intelligence, but despite best efforts, no such signal has ever been seen since, which only makes it all the more intriguing. Next up at number 6, alien cover-up. Back in April of 1979, Victor Afanasieff...
There's always a lot of that going on. Cover-ups, 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 cover-ups. That's what we've become known for, our cover-ups.
lifted off and began making his way to the Salyut 6 space station. However, while he was making his way there, he claims to have witnessed a very strange sight. Quote, "It followed us during half of our orbit. We observed it on the light side, and when we entered to the shadow side, it disappeared completely. It was an engineering structure made from some type of metal, approximately 40 meters long with inner hulls. The object was narrow here and wider here, and inside there were openings, some places had projections like small wings. The object stayed very close to us. We photographed it, and our photos showed it to be 23 to 28 meters away. Now, that in and of itself is a little suspicious. Victor also claims to have continually reported back to Mission Control about its size, shape, and position. But when the cosmonaut returned to Earth, he was allegedly debriefed and ordered not to talk to anyone about it ever. And to make matters even stranger, he claims his cameras were confiscated and his photos and his voice transmissions from space have never been released. I mean, that definitely sounds like someone is hiding something, if you ask me. Moving on to number 5. Eridanus supervoid. The Eridanus supervoid is an extremely large and eternally empty chunk of, well, space that, from what scientists can tell, is around 1 billion light years in diameter. For reference, 1 light year is supposed to be about 9 trillion kilometers, or 6 trillion miles. So times 9 trillion by 1 billion, and that's how big this giant supervoid is. Now, as far as astronomical standards go, that's a hefty size. And the supervoid is so large that so far it can't be explained by the current theories of the universe, which is pretty unnerving in a few ways. The most straightforward theory about the supervoid suggests the existence of an insanely massive black hole that would have the power to suck in stars, planets, light, and dark matter, among other space stuff, and that with each inhale of the universe, it will get stronger and stronger. All of which sounds horrifying. But that's not the only theory. Some researchers propose the void is actually evidence of a parallel universe, maybe even one being controlled by a horde of ruthless aliens. Of course, the second theory requires some more concrete evidence, but either way, this supervoid still seems pretty freaky. Moving on to number 4, the end of the universe. It's no secret that eventually, billions of years from now, the sun will expand into a red giant and kill the Earth. But what is a little more up for debate is how the entire universe itself will die. According to the BBC, some scientists feel the universe will perish via heat death, which suggests that heat itself will die and the entire universe will freeze just a tick above absolute zero. Another theory, called the Big Crunch theory, which is almost the exact opposite of the Big Bang, suggests that the universe will continue expanding until that's all it can expand, and when it can expand no more, everything will contract and collapse into itself. Then there is the Big Change theory, where bubbles of dark energy consume our universe, rendering everything inhospitable to the point where even atoms might not form anymore. And finally, the Big Rip theory, where dark energy would expand, become more massive, and just tear galaxies to pieces. Now, these are all just theories, of course, but each one sounds as terrifying as the last. At least
I was about to say that none of them were any good to us. Everything seems like it either destroyed us, harmed us, does something, but we don't survive in none of those theories. So that's not good at all.
They won't be happening for a very long time. Coming in at number 3, a scary supernova. To break it down, supernovas are pretty much giant star explosions, and they aren't uncommon, so it's not usually something that would seem too scary. But apparently, the ASA SSN-15LH was a supernova unlike any other. For starters, it was a superluminous supernova, observed in June of 2015, that originated 2.8 billion light years away, which would mean that it actually exploded 2.8 billion years ago. But what makes it special, or scary, I guess, is that scientists can't explain it. Unlike a regular supernova, this one was 10 times brighter and considerably more powerful. Also, when astronomers analyzed the light it was emitting, they couldn't find evidence of the hydrogen that should have been present. The initial explanation for the massive supernova involved what's called a magnetar, which is kind of a magnetic neutron star, and the theory was that the powerful magnetic field it provides could have added extra energy to the expanding ball of superheated gas. But then they realized that this scary star emitted more energy than a magnetar would have been able to provide. And apparently, even months after the boom, it was still giving off more energy than the entire Milky Way. Honestly, the more they try to figure out, the more confusing it seems to be. And if some of the smartest people in the world can't figure out what's going on, well, that's pretty scary. Moving on to number 2, the Great Attractor. As if giant exploding stars and potential alien life forms were not enough to get you freaked out, there is also a phenomenon hap galaxy that is essentially the universe equivalent of being dragged toward an inescapable doom. Essentially what's happening is that the Milky Way, its companion galaxies, and various other galactic stuff are all moving toward an area of space at a speed of 2.2 million kilometers per hour. Now, to ease you a bit, while that is very fast for us, it's apparently slower in space terms, but we still don't really know what is dragging all the matter in that direction. According to scientists, the speed at which we are moving implies an area of space creating a massive gravitational force, roughly equivalent to 10,000 galaxies. And since it is sucking in everything within a considerable distance, this mysterious region has been dubbed the Great Attractor. However, we can't actually see it, so we're kind of being dragged blindly. The reason being is that the Great Attractor sits in a region of space referred to by astronomers as the zone of avoidance. And it's called that because it sits exactly on the other side of the densest part of the Milky Way, thus observing it through all those stars and massive clouds of space dust is nearly impossible. How fun, right? And last up in our number one spot, GRB. Short for gamma ray bursts, GRBs are basically giant, super long explosions of energy. Now, the good news is that none have ever been observed in our own galaxy, and they apparently don't happen all too often in other galaxies. But that also means scientists don't know as much about them as they would like to. As NASA explains, GRBs might be caused by low energy gamma rays that once exposed to space explode into high energy rays, but that is just one of the ongoing theories at this point. But the terrifying reality of GRBs doesn't end at a lack of complete understanding. A 2014 study showed frequent GRB explosions have left swaths of the universe completely inhospitable. That study also said there's a good chance a GRB was the cause of at least one mass extinction event in Earth's history. Meaning that if a GRB ever landed in our galaxy, the human race could, in theory, be completely wiped out.
It's over.
Well, that's all I got for you today, my friends. I hope you liked this video.
Man. Like, it's nothing we can do about that. Once we figure out it's about to happen, yeah. Well, they say you might as well just sit back, get your popcorn, and just watch the sparks fly. Enjoy your last moments with your people, because that's over with, man. That's what I'm saying, bro. Space, deadly, fam. It could just, in a blink of an eye, just decide, all right, I want to do this. And that be the end of us. And the stuff is a lot scarier than you think, man. But y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about old Neil deGrasse and what he was talking and some of these scary things that we've discovered in space. All right? Y'all put it in the comment section and stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.